Hello, everyone. Okay, question for you. Do you ever wake up congested? Do you deal with seasonal allergies or chronic cough? Or feeling like you just cannot breathe deeply or as good as you used to? Or maybe you smoke, or maybe you used to smoke, and you wonder why your lungs just never really recover. Today, I want to introduce you to a plant that healers have used for thousands of years, literally thousands of years, and it is specifically for the lungs. Before inhalers, before decongestants, before any of it, they had mullein, and it worked. It worked then, and it works now. This is the herb spotlight today, and it's one of my favorites. I didn't mention it in the other ones yesterday, but it's really one of my top. It's in my top 10 and probably my top 5. All right, let's talk about it. Mullein is a tall, striking plant with large, soft, velvety leaves and a towering flower spike. So it has a really tall, thick spike, and the leaves that come off of it feel really soft. Okay. So if you've ever driven down a roadside and seen a tall yellow flowered plant growing in a dry, rocky soil, that may well have been mullein. One day we are going to go on a little field trip. It's been used medicinally across cultures for over 2,000 years. That's what my research showed me. I think it's been longer than that, and I'll explain why in a different video. It's been used by Native American healers, European herbalists, Ayurvedic practitioners, and of course, on the continent of Africa. Every tradition that encountered this plant recognized the same thing. It's a lung herb. The leaves, the flowers, the roots all have therapeutic applications. The leaves are most commonly used for respiratory support. The flowers have a long history for use for ear health. So if the kids have earaches, you can use mullein oil drops. Not medical advice, but this is what I know to be true about the plant. Okay? It is a lung herb. And man, when I tell you this stuff works, it really works. And as someone who has personally dealt with referred ear pain from neck tension, I have a particular appreciation for the plant. Okay? Mullein works on the respiratory system through several mechanisms. It's an expectorant, so that helps you cough up mucus. Okay? And it helps to clear the airways. It loosens congestion, and it supports the natural healing processes. That's why it's been used for centuries for coughs, bronchitis, and chest congestion. A demulcent. That means that the leaves contain a mucilage, okay, kind of like marshmallow root. It contains a mucilage, it's slippery, and the soothing compound coats and calms irritated mucous membranes. If your airways are inflamed, irritated, or raw, then mullein would be the choice to help soothe them from the inside. It's also anti-inflammatory. So mullein contains flavonoids and saponins that reduce inflammation. For anyone dealing with chronic respiratory inflammation, whether from smoking, from allergies, or environmental exposure, this really matters, decreasing that inflammation. And a lung tonic. So if used consistently over time, mullein strengthens and tones the lung tissue itself. And it does. It is not a quick fix. It is restorative. So it just helps to restore your lungs back to capacity. And it helps to rebuild that organ. That's the herbalist approach. All right. So here's something that does not get talked about often, and that's for the perimenopausal and menopausal community. Estrogen plays a protective role in respiratory health. As estrogen declines, some women experience increased susceptibility to respiratory infections, changes in breathing patterns, particularly during sleep. So oftentimes we're not taking enough deep breaths. That's why it's important to be intentional. We spoke about intentionality in the last video, video number 9. It's really important to be intentional and aware of your breath. We want to take deep cleansing breaths. Breathe in through the nose, release out of the mouth. Okay? Let's see. Worsening of asthma or allergies that were previously well controlled. Greater sensitivity to environmental irritants. The relationship between hormones and lung function is real, and it's one more reason why holistic support through through this stage of life is important and is not optional. It is truly essential. Mullein as a consistent lung tonic through tea, tincture, or as part of a smokable herbal blend, we of course offer them there, can be a meaningful way and a meaningful part of support in midlife. This is not about fear, it's about preparation and support. Knowing that your body is navigating so that you can meet it with wisdom, knowing how your body is navigating. You want to know what your body is doing, what it's functioning, what's going on with the body, so that way you can determine what type of wisdom you need to use or what herbal wisdom you need to use to help better support your body and move it back to a stage of homeostasis, which is balance and in health. All right. 2 connections I want to make before we close, and that is the skin signals connection. So remember our face map, okay? Where's our face map? Here it is. We have our face map here, okay? Take a look. Okay, the cheek zones correspond to the lungs and the respiratory system. If you are dealing with cheek breakouts, redness, or congestion in that area, and especially if you smoke tobacco, even if you're smoking marijuana, or you've dealt with some other respiratory issues, your skin is reflecting your lung health. Mullein works from the inside, and your botanical skincare works from the outside. That's the skin signals approach in action. And then the breathe again connection. Mullein is one of the key herbs in my proprietary breathe again protocol and formulation. It's our holistic cessation smoking program. When you smoke, the lungs accumulate tar, irritants, and inflammation. Mullein begins the clearing and restoration process. Hold up. I want you to hear that again. Mullein begins the clearing and restoration process. Okay? The blends in my Breathe Again protocol contain mullein specifically because we're not just replacing a habit. Again, we are changing the ritual. You're beginning to restore what smoking has taken from the lungs, and that is intentional medicine. A few ways to bring mullein into your wellness practice, all right? As you practice wellness on yourself. As a tea, you can steep dry the mullein leaves 10 to 15 minutes, strain well. And you don't always need to use boiling water. For these, you want to keep your water at about 140 to about 170 degrees, okay? Strained well, the tiny leaf hairs can irritate the throat if not strained. So make sure you're straining your tea. Add honey if you need to, and that's a daily lung tonic. As a tincture, okay? It's a more concentrated extraction and it's easier for consistent daily use because in a tincture, you can just place a dropper full under your tongue, and that's going to also enter the bloodstream quicker and help to start restore it from the inside out again. And it goes a lot quicker. As a part of a smokable blend, specifically in the Breathe Again protocol, where it works alongside other respiratory and nervine herbs, you can, if you're quitting or if you just like the ritual of smoking, you can use the smokable blend and it contains mullein and it's going to start healing those lungs as well. An important note that I want you to remember is mullein tea, you want to strain it thoroughly. The fine hairs on those leaves can cause throat irritation. And it can feel like that really prickly tickling in your throat. You don't want that. It's hard to get rid of that once you've consumed some of that. So I would say you normally put your teas, and if you normally put them in a tea strainer, put them in a tea bag and go ahead and seal up your tea bag or tie it up and then put it in your water and do that, go ahead and use your tea like that. Or you can buy it already prepared. Okay? Let's see, 3 things. We're at the end here. Our Breathe Again smokable herb blend features mullein and the link is below. And then also subscribe, hit that bell, share with someone who smokes or has smoked or is looking to change their ritual or has some respiratory issues. This plant may be exactly what they need. It looks good to feel good. My name is Chantel, and this has been another episode on our 30-day YouTube journey. Thank you so much for joining me. You take care.